Welcome to another episode of The Zone. I'm Bobby Malak, and with me as always is my good buddy, Jack Davis.
Thank you, Bobby. And with us today is my good buddy, former Penn guard and recent signee to Aris Lou Arden in the Netherlands. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Miles Cartwright.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Miles, welcome to the show. You just finished up 4 years at Penn. Successful 4 years, averaging double digits every year. But you actually passed up some D1 scholarship offers coming out of high school. Is that correct?
Yeah, so, I got recruited out of Loyola High School by a couple Pac-12s in Oregon State and Washington State. I also had some mid-majors in Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and most of the WCC, and also most of the Ivy League. So,
what was your thought process there? What were you looking for most when you were getting recruited? Was it playing time? Was it where you were going to win? What was like most important to you?
Coming from Loyola, it was all about what school I could get the best, combination of education and, of course, basketball tradition. So, I knew if I went to some of the other programs, I would have to sit maybe. Some schools talked about even redshirting me. But of course, I wanted to play right away because I had a great career in high school. And I knew I wasn't going to go to the NBA after 1 or 2 years. So I knew I wanted to, be in a situation where I was going to be able to finish my education and be able to play and, play throughout my whole career.
So does peer pressure factor into that? Because you went to Loyola High School, an extremely prestigious school for basketball.
Yeah.
You balled out on my high school, Harvard Westlake. I watch you put up 30 on people all the time. But there is some type of cachet, right? You're saying, I'm going to Oregon State, or I'm going to Oregon.
Definitely.
And was it hard for you just from a social aspect? Because, saying I'm going to play basketball at Penn, while that's, a much better long-term decision, it's not as, maybe cool and sexy as saying I'm going to Oregon.
Of course. I played on California Supreme for AAU and travel ball. So we had Jeremy Tyler, DeAndre Daniels, Dwayne Poley, Tyler Lamb, Gary Franklin. They were all going to, top, power conference schools. Jeremy ended up going right overseas and playing. DeAndre went to UConn. Tyler, went to UCLA, and Gary went to Cal. So, it was tough to, see those guys play in Pac-12 and, Big East schools. And, I knew that I could play with them, play well against them.
What is that feeling like, knowing that, you could be playing in these games? You went and you played at Duke. You played at Rupp Arena against Kentucky. What is that feeling of going into that arena and seeing the difference of 15, 20,000 people and knowing that you could play for one of these teams?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough. But, I always had the bigger picture in mind. I knew right away, during my freshman year that I was going to, if I worked hard enough, I was going to have the opportunity to play afterwards. I can't lie to you. It was tough not to, have games on TV every night. And like you said, not to have, 20,000 people in the stands. But, I had a great experience. And, I don't regret my decision at all.
And it's funny you say that because I think of the names you listed. Gary Franklin went to Cal, transferred to Baylor. He's a talented player. I'm sure he can play overseas. Tyler Lamb left UCLA. DeAndre Daniels, he got drafted in the second round. Jeremy Tyler has kind of washed out of the NBA almost. They had the short-term reward, but it may not have been sustainable for them long-term. So do you kind of see examples of those players now and think, wow, thank God I made the decision I did?
A little bit. And like I said earlier, I knew I wasn't going to be a one-and-done player. And, all of those guys, even though it didn't pan out to be that way, they all, at some point, we all thought they were going to be one-and-done type players. So, the decision for them, their decision-making was obviously very different than mine. I was making a 40-year decision, and they were just making, what's going to give me the quickest way to the NBA.
Making a 4-year decision, were you thinking the end goal has always been the NBA? Since you were a freshman in high school, all the way through, has this just always been the plan?
Of course. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think or, dream about playing in the NBA. And I still think one day I'll be able to. But coming in from my freshman year on, every day I was working towards, being able to play in the NBA at some point.
And I work towards playing in the NBA, but it's more of a secret. And these pickup games, I'm going to get better and better. I'm going to grow 6 inches.
Play against 7th graders, feel real good.
Yeah. But it's funny, actually, I want to bring this up. You actually made top 10 Sportscenter. You want to tell that story?
Yeah, so we were playing Princeton the last game of my freshman year, and Princeton was playing for the Ivy League championship. We were out of contention. We didn't have a really great year. So I mean, our coach was kind of trying out new things towards the end of the game. So you know, he told me to get the ball, pretty much bring it up court. You know, I got a high ball screen, and then I just split the double team really, and I just saw two people in front of me. Man, I thought the only way I was gonna be able to finish if I was gonna attack the rim as hard as I could. And you know, I dunked it. I got over the rim and I dunked it. And it was
absolute jam. I watched it many times.
My first and only dunk in college, but you know, I'm happy that it ended up on Sportscenter.
I'm glad that you guys tried out that play.
How did you find out though? How did you find out? Like, were you texted? Did your phone blow up? Like, when did you find out you were in Sportscenter?
I was in the airport the next day. I was coming home because it was spring break, and I was at the terminal, and I was sitting down about to eat my food, and I look up and I'm watching Top 10. And I knew we were on, you know, the game was on ESPN like the night before, but, you know, I was just watching it, and, you know, I see LeBron had a play on there, Kobe had a play, and I look up and it's, you know, they showed my play on there, and I'm like, that's
what number did you
crazy.
get?
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Oh, Should you have been number 1? You still a little
I don't even remember who was number 1, but I was a little disappointed.
It's funny because every time I get my food, I also look up at SportsCenter's top plays and wait for myself to be on. But all these sports streams, for some reason, aren't pinning out for me the way they are for you, Miles.
Just keep waiting. Just keep waiting.
I like that you said your coach was like, we want to try a new play. Let's try the play where you just drive by everyone and dunk. We should probably keep that one in the playbook.
It never happened again.
So you never dunked again, all of your college career?
I think I might have had one more, maybe.
The thing is, like, awkwardly, I know that you did have one more because I was watching some of your highlights before this game. You had like a steal against some team like in yellow jersey. Something.
UMBC.
Yes.
I did.
You did. UMBC. See? I know.
That was also my freshman year, so.
What's it like playing in the Ivy League?
I mean, it was a lot different. I mean, we didn't play during the week. All the games were on Friday and Saturday, so that was tough playing a back-to-back. And, you know, I played a lot of minutes. So, you know, come in Friday, play 38 minutes, and then Saturday.
It's almost like high school.
Exactly.
Like crazy.
Like an AAU game, and like you're expected to play another 38 minutes. So, you know, the first game would always be, you know, high pace, you know, kind of blistering speed. And then the second game, you just tell how tired everybody is, and it's just really a test of wills, low-scoring games. But I really enjoyed it. You know, coming into it, people talked about, like, why are you going to play in the Ivy League? Like, but, I mean, you know, I hate to give Harvard this credit, but, you know, they definitely raised the level of play throughout the league. I mean, they made everybody go out and get, you know, players who could play in, you know, bigger conferences, other conferences. And to able to compete, you have to have, you know, some players who, you know, aren't, you know, particularly supposed to be in the Ivy League playing. So, I mean, it got better every year. And my senior year was obviously the toughest, but I really enjoyed it.
So we all hate to give anyone from Harvard credit, of course. But when you saw Harvard win back-to-back first-round games in the NCAA tournament, even though they're a rival of yours, did you feel some type of satisfaction because it represented the strength of the league?
Oh, definitely. It was great for the league. You know, I mean, it's really tough that we don't have a conference tournament because I honestly think we could have had, you know, one or maybe two other teams in, you know, either of those last tournaments. But it was amazing for the league just to see the hard work they put in and, you know, to really get that reward and win a couple games in the tournament.
And you kind of actually, I don't want to say you set the precedent, but you were the first, you know, great LA player to go to an Ivy League. And then we saw like Wesley Saunders from Windward go to Harvard and play great, Zened Osamwan from Harvard Westlake. But yeah, I think it definitely shows the strength because Tommy Amaker of Harvard says he wants to turn Harvard into like Gonzaga.
I don't see why that can't happen. You're recruiting guys. How many guys are there like you who do care about their education, who see that it's not a one-and-done process, where you can go find great basketball players who want to play team basketball for 4 years? Like, I don't see why you can't build that.
Now, aside from the fact that I hate he's the Lakers' big offseason acquisition, do you think Jeremy Lin and his story actually gives kids the desire to play in the Ivy League?
I thought that was huge. You know, even though he didn't play right away, just the fact that he got a shot,
made the
you
league.
know, that was huge, and it just really showed all of us who were still in the league.
Were you guys watching every night when Lin Sanity happened a couple years ago and blew up? You were still in school.
Amazing. It was amazing. I mean, it just really showed us like you can really make the league out of anywhere, and like that's showing in pretty much every draft. They're finding players from all over the world, from the lowest schools. But to have somebody from our league, which never really happened before, and this current era of basketball, that was amazing.
Not just make it, but
really
shine.
Just shine.
It's
amazing.
That being said, I really am not excited to watch the Jeremy Lin
I am
Young
not
combo
excited
next year as a Laker fan.
To watch this Lakers team in any way.
Yeah.
That being said, this is an interesting transition though into, you made the decision to sign overseas. Like you had some NBA workouts. You tried to make a go of it that way. You've decided to go with this path. What spurred that? Like, how do you even know where to look to go down that road?
Well, I mean, obviously, you just start off with signing an agent, and they basically sat me down. I signed with Rival Sports Group, and Toby Bailey is my agent, and he really sat me down, and he was like, "What do you want from this? Like, what is your long-term goal?" And I told him, like, I want to play in the NBA. And he was straight up. He was like, this year, it's going to be tough. Like, it's really hard because you're really not on the radar for it. And I understood it. And, I asked him, like, what is the next, the best case scenario? And he was just like, we're going to get you in as many workouts as we can. I had a group workout with a bunch of GMs and scouts there. And then I got to work out for the Lakers later in the summer. And then everything started to really, the ball started to roll for me. I went to another Euroleague camp with a bunch of, European GMs and scouts there. And, I just really, started to realize that, I can still get, great quality of play, definitely make money, and then just be able to broaden my horizons. And it was just really a great opportunity for me to, go over and, play for a little while. And, just see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, is the goal to play well there, to hop to another EuroLeague team, and then eventually make the NBA? What's the process like for these guys? How much is your agent kind of laying out what that path is?
Yeah, well, I mean, this team in particular, I mean, they're, really great for developing talent, and, just trying to, let them go and then, have them, matriculate into a better team. So the Dutch Basketball League is, it's a good league, but it's probably in the middle of the pack in terms of, top professional leagues in the world. But a lot of the players, if they play well there, they're able to move up either if it's on Germany or Belgium or Italy, which all have top leagues right now. And, wherever. I mean, the NBA is, they're finding players from everywhere, and they're plucking players out of all of these leagues. So, just all I got to really do is focus on is, working hard every day and, playing as well as I can. And
well, you see guys like Patrick Beverley. I mean,
Exactly.
He was a second-round pick, but he went overseas for 3 years, and now he's starting point guard on a, Western Conference elite team. But let me, I want to ask you. You grew up in LA. Obviously, you get conditioned to be a high-level athlete and to not get starstruck. You play with a top club team. You play at Duke, at Kentucky. But when you're trying out for the Lakers, is there like a little bit of like, you get a little like, I'm a fan almost, or you just can't believe when Mitch Kupchak, who's the GM, who you've seen when you're 12 years old on press conferences, is sitting there? What's that like?
I mean, I remember when I got the call, and I just didn't believe it. So like that whole, next day, just leading up to it, like it almost felt like a dream. And then I show up to the facility, and then I walk out onto the court, and then you look up at Jim Buss's office, and you see all the trophies up there, and I was just in awe of it all.
Could you separate when you got onto the court? Do you feel like you had a good workout, or do you feel like you were still like mentally thinking about what was going on?
Like the first 20, 30 minutes, it was all blurred. Like I don't even remember because I was so in awe of the trophies, the banners. You have the retired jerseys all throughout the practice facility, and then Mitch walks out. Mr. Buss walks out. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience. And then, as I started to get loose, it was basketball at the end of the day. I had two of my best friends with me there working out, Kareem Jamar and Justin Cobb. So that really made it easy to get comfortable. And, it was really great. I mean, it wasn't really out of my element. It was a lot of stuff that I had been working on all summer. So it was really a great workout for me.
So let's talk about your other top experiences. Like you played at Kentucky, at Duke.
Almost beat Kentucky.
Walking in, obviously, as an Ivy League program, you're big underdogs. So the atmosphere is incredible. What's that like?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I remember playing at Kentucky. We were up 20 in the first half. And the best feeling about that was just, just having 23,000 fans just silent, like they're just shocked. But we had a great game plan, and I wish we could have carried it out and got the upset. But that just, playing at Rupp, playing in Cameron indoors, and we played in a great facility in the Palestra. I mean, I got to play, like, my best part of playing in college was I got to play in so many great arenas. And that, like, not many people get to have that experience, so I'm really grateful and blessed to have that.
When you're going against, as you prepare to try and make this transition from going up the ladder and overseas and hoping it leads to more, when you're playing against a Brandon Knight who was on that team, or Duke Austin Rivers, you're focused on the game. But either before the game or during the game even or after the game, are you trying to measure yourself like, okay, this guy I know is going to be a first-round pick. What do I need to do to get to his level? When I'm, are you thinking about that? Or are you?
No doubt. I mean, you got to think about that against anybody you play against. We got to play against the best, playing in the Big Five against Villanova and LaSalle, and like you said, getting to play against Austin Rivers and Brandon Knight and those guys. So I always try to see, how I compared against the best guards we played against.
Who's the best player you ever played? You played in all these elite travel teams, AAU in college, all these things. Who's the best player you ever saw live?
I still got to say Klay Thompson. We played in my sophomore year in high school in the playoffs at Santa Margarita, and I think he had like 45 points, 9 for 12 from 3, and it was just effortless. He was, just strong. He was already you could just see mentally and physically he was already
just playing at a different level than the people around.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So you're obviously an elite player, but you have that next level to jump. You've played against, like we've talked about, Rivers, Thompson, Brandon Knight. How do what do you think you have to do to get to that next level?
Obviously, I got to get stronger. The skill set wise, I think, only thing I need to do is really tighten my ball handling and just make sure my shot continues to be automatic. But I just need to be stronger and just so I can just guard defensively. Because if you're going to play in the NBA, you got to be able to, guard the point guard position.
How open are, like, the Lakers or someone like that to you when you guys have a team workout? Are they, like, outlining to you pretty straightforward, like, this is what you need to do if you're going to
no doubt. I mean, they were pretty much coaching us like we were going to play for them opening night. So, they were, very straight up. I had to get stronger, and, NBA is a point guards league right now with Westbrook and, D Rose coming back and Chris Paul, and to be able to guard those type of guys, you got to be physically strong and fast and mentally strong as well, because those guys just keep coming at you until you break down.
Yeah. So we're talking about elite players. Obviously, you're an elite player, but there's another Cartwright in the family, your little brother, Parker Cartwright, one of the top prospects in all of California. I believe he was a 5-star prospect, or I know he was ranked one of the top 3 point guards in the country. Recently signed to Arizona.
Giving hope
Giving
to
false hope.
5'10" skinny guys.
Yeah. His 5'10" skinny is a little different than my 5'10" skinny.
A little bit.
And I'm obviously lying when I'm saying I'm 5'10", because I'm a lot closer to like 5'8.5". But as an older brother, what's it like seeing your younger brother have, be such a phenom of sorts? And, let's hear an update on Parker.
Oh, man, it's been amazing to see him really, grow to this point. I mean, coming in as a freshman at Loyola, where everybody pretty much doubted him, and to see him get to this point is amazing. And especially to be on a team like Arizona, where they have national championship and Final Four aspirations from day one.
Even taking it back, going to LeBron's camp, playing with Andrew Wiggins, the eventual #1 pick in the NBA draft, and winning MVP of that camp.
Yeah, I mean, he's just.
How early did you guys know that he was going to be able to ball out like this?
I don't think any of us kind of knew. I mean,
because he's your little brother. You never
I always just
you pick that.
Go at him, and just to see him really grow and develop. I mean, he really works hard, and he really wants it. Like, he just wants to win. I mean, he doesn't care about the stats or anything. He just really wants to win.
It's a point guard right there.
Yeah, and just share the ball with his teammates. And I think Arizona was the best fit for him. He gets to play with top-level talent, like they're going to have Stanley Johnson, as well as, Brandon Ashley and Caleb Tarzewski and all those guys. So he'll be able to learn from, another great point guard in T.J. McConnell. But he'll be able to have a chance to win from day one and win big.
Now, you talk about learning and you talk about winning. College basketball has built this model really centered around the one and done, where you look, the best teams that play team basketball are these small school teams like Gonzaga, like SLU, that are there for 4 years, are developing together, building chemistry. And it's kind of that model against this one and done where the best, players play. Do you think that's good for basketball?
It really depends on the player. There are some players who should be going into the NBA straight out of high school, but it's just like some people are just not ready yet. And it really hurts to see, guys like Shabazz Napier, Doug McDermott, they're kind of getting punished for being 4-year guys.
I think McDermott's going to be the Rookie of the Year, though. That's my zone prediction.
Yeah, I mean, he's
McDermott Rookie of the Year.
I mean, it's really tough, like, for those guys to get punished for being seniors when they were
for developing their game for 4 years.
Exactly.
For winning titles, for making Elite Eights.
Here's the thing. Potential helps you keep your job as a GM. Like, this guy's going to be great in 3 years. That way, I can stay GM because I'm saying wait till he develops for 3 years.
But it's tough. I mean, because, like, most guys don't develop. Like, the NBA is a league where you have to come in with something.
Yeah. Because they're going to pick apart your weakness.
Exactly.
That's the thing, is there's too much video, there's too much. The league is too good. If you have any weakness, they're going to hit it, and that's where these guys
that's why
need to
I'm
stay
going to
in
make the
college.
league, because there's no video on me. No one can pick apart
No
my
video.
weaknesses.
He's been working in the gym with the same 8th grade youth team.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I mean, there's obviously Jabari Parker is going to be an eventual star. I think Andrew Wiggins is going to be great. Julius Randle, another one and done. I think he's going to be great as well. But
those guys are the exception of the rule.
Exactly.
You see 15 guys doing the one and done, and what percent every year of these guys does it work out for?
Exactly.
Like, so with your brother, like, Arizona is one of these schools that's almost forcing guys out after a year. Like, they're selling the best guys to come there, play a year, win a title, and move on so that they can get the next talent there. What do you think about that? Like, do you think that your brother knows that he's playing in that kind of system?
I mean, of course. I would be lying if I said I didn't want him to stay 4 years, because I think, he's going to have a chance to win every year. But if the opportunity is there, if they're telling you, look, you're going to be a lottery pick, you're going to be a first-round pick after 1 or 2 years, it's really hard to say no.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to happen. That first game of your third year, you could get hurt, and that could really affect you. And there are guys who probably should have went out after their first year, and then they stayed, and then they just continue to pick you apart. Well, he's not this, he doesn't have this, and then your stock drops the more they see you. So I mean, I honestly, if I predicted now, I think he stays 4 years. But if the opportunity's there after 2 or 3, then I don't see what's the problem with going early.
And you made a great point, Bobby, because these schools
Make a lot of those.
sometimes these guys leave because, like you said, they have to. Like you look at Arizona, Grant Jarrett left when he wasn't ready, late second-round pick when he was stud coming out of high school, because he knows Aaron Gordon's coming, and Aaron Gordon's going to take all his minutes. So it's like, well, I can leave now while there's some intrigue around me. While, like you said, in another just amazing Bobby Malak, astute point, where there's less video on me now, there's less, known, my weaknesses are less known. Or I can stay, I'm behind Aaron Gordon, which is not my fault, he's a top, 10 pick. So do you ever think about that? And that's one thing Parker signs up for when he goes to Arizona, which is, obviously, he's a very hyped prospect, he's a great player, but Arizona might sign the #1 point guard in the country next year.
Every single year,
who's a top 5 NBA pick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's tough. I mean, that just makes it so competitive, and that it's a factory. They want to continue to be the best of the best every year, and the only way to do that is if you have, the top talent. So that just makes you, you have to work hard. You got to continue getting better. Like there's another one coming in right after you.
So last question about Parker, and this is the one we all want to know. One-on-one, you still Big Brother beating him?
Still can't beat me. He still can't beat me. If he came on the show, he'd probably say something different, but he still can't beat me.
You just back him down?
Of course.
It's the Big Brother mindset.
Of course.
It's mental game matters.
It's
mental
all
game
mental.
matters. You're
It's
never
all
going to lose
mental
the
at
mental
that
game
point.
to little brother.
It's all
the
mental at
problem
this
is
point.
that day that you lose the first one.
Yeah, then
it's over.
So you're
You
saying you've
gotta
never
keep it
lost
going.
to him once?
No.
Wow. I wonder if you never
Look at
once.
the camera and challenge your brother.
Yeah.
We're giving you the venue to challenge your brother one-on-one.
But also, I kind of want to turn this show into people challenging Bieber to play one-on-one, like who they
Do
with Jimmy
you want
Tatro
to
last
challenge
week.
Justin Bieber to one-on-one
if he wants to
basketball?
play, I mean, that'd be very fun.
We're going
That
to
would be
challenge,
very fun.
every guest challenges Bieber until he
Eventually,
plays.
Justin, say yes to one of these people.
So before we let you go, let's talk a few minutes about NBA, what's happening. So I don't know if you're a Lakers fan being from LA, because I feel like when you're actually an athlete, you lose some fanship because you play against guys and you. But how do you feel about the moves? LeBron, Cleveland, Melo, New York, Lakers. Damn it, didn't get anyone. What's your take on the NBA summer?
I mean, it's been entertaining, almost more entertaining than the season.
Did you ever, like, the thing to talk about obviously is LeBron first. Like, everything comes after that. When LeBron left 4 years ago, you see the decision. You see the decision followed up with Dan Gilbert writing that letter.
Yeah.
Do you ever imagine LeBron going back to Cleveland?
Not one bit of me thought he would ever go back. I thought he would have came to the Lakers before he would have went back to Cleveland. But I mean, I read his new letter, and that draw back home was just so strong, just pulling him back.
Have you ever seen an athlete or a public figure change their perception so quickly?
Well, as my
amazing.
Facebook status denoted after LeBron made his decision, I think it was, I've read some stuff about maybe it was secretly a selfish move he disguised well, but I'm willing to believe the best in LeBron. I think his letter was fantastic. I think if he wins, and he said this in his letter, not directly, but winning one title in Cleveland means more than winning five titles
where
elsewhere.
He was brilliant. Is he changed the message from winning 6 titles? When he went to Miami, it's I've got to beat Jordan. Now that
totally
standard.
true.
Now he goes and he wins 1 title in Cleveland. People aren't saying, well, Jordan won 6, he won 3.
It's LeBron ended a 50-year drought.
LeBron ended a 50-year drought.
Yeah.
He won 3 titles. He's held to a different standard.
Yeah.
And that's where he was so smart.
If he wins 1 title, he's now a hero in Ohio forever, in a way that Jordan could almost never be in Chicago, because it's like
There's the Bears.
Yeah.
There's
he's not from.
Blackhawks.
I mean, Cleveland's such a tortured place.
And it's his hometown.
Yeah.
And it's his hometown that have always had their hearts ripped out. And that's why I think it's a beautiful story. And I think it's going to make something where you see the most polarizing, hated player in the league instantly turn into the most beloved player in the league. So it's going to be fun to see. And, looking at the other side of the spectrum, another guy who goes back, Melo. You see Melo re-sign with the Knicks. You see him take, it's really tough. I have never been offered a difference of $26 million on a deal. I can't say that I'd turn it down, but you see Melo had a chance to play with D-Rose and with Noah and with those guys in Chicago and win titles. Now I feel like we're never going to get to see what Melo can do.
That's the most disappointing thing about it. I just don't see him being able to win a championship in New York unless LeBron goes there. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to get out of the East when you have LeBron and Kyrie together. You got D-Rose and Joakim Noah and Powell
Pacers
together.
are still solid.
Yeah, you got the Wizards coming.
Yeah, the Wizards
even
coming,
Charlotte has gotten a lot better.
It's wide open in the East.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be really tough.
Who are they going to leapfrog to make the playoffs next year?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Cleveland's going to go to the playoffs, which means
sure.
someone will be
Someone's
knocked
out.
out. So a second team would have to be knocked out. For the Knicks to make it, I don't see that second team.
And Miami's still good. They're still.
Oh, they're going to be solid. Dang and Bosch and Wade and McRoberts. That's not a bad four at all.
And this is where it's honestly sad. Is Carmelo is a phenomenal player. You watch with team. He's always categorized as this ball-stopping, me-first player. When you watch him with USA, like playing with the best players in the world, his game is incredible, and you just don't get to see that. And I feel like now he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
He's been in the league for 10 years. Are we ever going to get to see that? And that's, it's too bad as a fan.
Yeah.
It would have been fun to see him in Chicago.
So
doubt.
last NBA topic before we let you go here. Lakers, you're from LA. Aren't you? Are you a Clippers fan or
Yeah,
Lakers
I'm more
fan?
of a big Clipper fan.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
You're a Clippers fan.
Yeah.
Well, then you should be thrilled to talk about this subject because the Clippers are going this way and the Lakers are
Kinda.
going the opposite.
Yeah, I mean it's great to see the Clippers be where they're at, but they still can't get over the hump. I mean that last
the
couple
West
games
is brutal.
against
I mean,
the
the
Thunder
West
was
is just incredible.
And I thought we had a chance against the Thunder. I mean, we
And
kind
then you
of
have to
choked away
face the
those last
Spurs
two
after
games.
that.
Exactly.
The West is just loaded.
Yeah, the Wild Wild West. Is
I
brutal.
didn't like the Clippers offseason because they're basically betting the bank on the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan as their core. signing Spencer Hawes. He's a complimentary piece. I don't think that core is good enough.
I don't think so.
I don't
Not
think
to get out the West.
The Thunder
Not now.
are only going to get better. The Spurs, you think they're going to be their last
They
year.
always find a way to fix it.
It's tough to be in the West. But
retool.
touch on the Lakers real quick because I need to get out my Lakers depression. I've been a Laker fan my whole life. It's always been the riches of the riches. And now we're trotting out Boozer and Jay Hill and Xavier Henry and
Kobe
old
comes
Kobe. I'm
Kobe
starting
comes
to.
back.
We're
grip
gonna get to
Kobe's-
watch some of my favorite and least favorite players playing together.
Yeah.
Like having to watch Carlos Boozer and Kobe on the same floor makes me so angry.
Dude, wait till the lineups where it's like.
Wait until Carlos Boozer puts the fake hair back on.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen then?
Well,
Like,
let's not.
What's gonna happen when we see the spray
Let's
paint
not
hair?
knock guys who go bald. I might pull in 3 years. The spray paint move's gonna probably be my move. So, but it's just gonna be tough watching this. The inevitable Sacre, Boozer, Xavier Henry, Lynn, Nick Young lineup.
It's not a fun lineup.
Not a fun
It's
lineup.
not a fun lineup. What do you do to fix the team if you're the Lakers? Do you keep going with the strategy of no long-term commitments and hope someone is like, oh, it's the Lakers, I want to be here?
I guess you got to continue to hope. I just don't see the Lakers. It's not in their DNA to, draft somebody, in the lottery and develop them. I mean, Julius Randle's a great pick, and I think he's going to be great for the Lakers. But, I think they're just going to have to wait it out. Hopefully Kevin Love becomes a free agent. He, doesn't get traded and becomes a free agent.
Yeah.
You make a run at him. Westbrook and KD come off the books in 2016.
A lot of
so,
ifs.
Yeah,
Putting
it's
it
a
up
lot
to
of
a lot of
ifs.
ifs, which
It's
for
a
the
lot of
Lakers,
ifs. Exactly.
we're talking about a team that made the playoffs every single year and contended for a
Contended
title every
year.
year. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
Exactly.
So, last question. It's a two-parter. What player would you compare yourself to? What NBA comp would you give yourself? And what's the one player you really want to play against?
I don't really know about a comparison. I like a lot of different guys.
Not to be that nerd fan, but I have my own Miles Cartwright NBA comparison.
Who is that?
Tell us about it, Jack.
Dallas Mavericks, Jason Terry.
I actually like Jay
You like
Terry.
that?
I like Jay Terry. He's more of he likes to shoot it a lot, and I like to get guys involved, but I like Jay Terry a lot.
Yeah.
He's a heat-em-up guy, man.
Yeah.
He can come
Yeah.
off the bench and just
I feel like you and Jay
change-
Terry,
like
6'3"
Yeah.
combo guards who can
Yeah.
stroke it from deep.
I love Jay Terry. But player I would like to play against, I would love to play against Kobe, LeBron. Even if I don't have to guard them.
If you want to play against
one-on-one.
Kobe,
just-
you got maybe a year
Hurry it
left.
up.
You got maybe. You can play him in the rec league in like 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, but those guys are great. I would love to play against James Harden and Westbrook, KD. Like all those guys are great.
A lot of stars in the league
Yeah,
right now.
it's
man.
just
It's a
a
great
lot.
time
It's
for the
just a
NBA.
lot. It's a great time
for
in
the
the
NBA.
league, especially
Yeah.
with the young guys coming up as well. It's really a great time just to be a fan, just to watch it and hopefully be able to play in it. It would be a blessing.
Well, Miles, we wish you the best on your
Thank you so
journey.
much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the
No
show.
doubt. No doubt.
Everyone, make sure to follow Miles on Twitter at _MJC0. Thank you for watching The Zone. Make sure to track Miles on his journey with Aris Luarden. I'm working the pronunciation. But this has been another episode of The Zone. With me, as always, Bobby Malak. Everyone, make sure to subscribe. Subscribe to The Lip. Subscribe to The Lip TV 2. And follow us on Twitter at The Zone Sports. Get involved.